So many of you might have heard the news of the High Republic being a completely new era to the Star Wars timeline. In fact, it was the most voted video topic I put out there for you guys on YouTube and on our Discord. But for those of you who are not aware, the High Republic is set roughly 200 years before the events of the Skywalker saga and about 800 years after the fall of the Old Republic. The era establishes itself as a canon alternative to the Old Republic pre-Disney buyout content, seen in games such as the KOTOR RPGs and the extremely expensive to make the Old Republic MMORPG. I'm serious, when I was researching game development costs for the Cyberpunk video, guess what was there to my surprise? The Old Republic coming in at number 4 for the most expensive games to make. Whilst Disney has made a sizable effort to get this new era in the faces of Star Wars fans, so far it appears the era is locked into books as its only medium. So today, I wanted to share with you some reasons as to why that shouldn't be the case, and why the High Republic needs to have a video game at some point during its creation. So without further delay, let's get right into it. Okay, so let's clear the obvious ones first, before we get into things more ambiguous. The Great Disaster was an event that caused all starships across the entire galaxy to be spontaneously and abruptly launched out of hyperspace. This unknown, horrific phenomenon caused immense destruction. I won't go into details on this to avoid giving you guys actual spoilers, but Charles Soule's novel, The High Republic: Light of the Jedi, does dive into greater detail on this horrendous event, which you'll be able to discover and read more of in 2021. It happened during 232 BBY, and personally I think this would be an amazing storyline for a game. Scientifical anomalies are such a strong hook for me in storylines, especially when they can be properly explained and its existence has a strong, meaningful connection to the overarching storyline itself. The horrors of hyperspace and hyperdrive malfunctions are topics Eckhartsladder has covered in great detail, and they were insanely gripping for me information-wise. So to hear the High Republic having one on a galaxy-wide spectrum feels like too much of a good idea to simply have in books. Much like the Order 66 in the prequel trilogy, and how the Jedi Fallen Order game and the Clone Wars TV series mixed in different perspectives of that pinnacle moment and how that changed absolutely everything. Having a galaxy-wide narrative change has clearly proven to be super successful, and why many will never tire of seeing more angles to the moment the order was given. I feel the Great Disaster could be just that, all over again. And it's why I don't think just having it in books will cut it. It's going to need so many more mediums of entertainment to push that huge event and deliver the potential it has. And what better time to do it when ushering in a new generation of Star Wars fans, which I will get into in greater detail later. So one thing many fans have asked over the years is the finale to the KOTOR game series, wrapping it up into a trilogy. We did discuss this in a previous video, and the development journey the game had in both the first and second game, and they sold extremely well. The first KOTOR game had all of its initial copies sold in days within the US, and the game hit around 3.2 million sales by 2007. The sequel had a very rushed development cycle, with new developers Obsidian Entertainment on board to get it done. Whilst the sales success wasn't as colossal as its older brother, it still sold extremely well. Unfortunately, during the buyout of Star Wars by Disney, the KOTOR 3 game many were wishing for was lost in transition. What was once canon and an in-depth look of the years between 25,000 BBY to 1,000 BBY was now merely legends. And whilst a KOTOR 3 would have technically canonized the previous two games before it, it was never meant to be. But it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. With the introduction of the High Republic, it introduces a fantastic way to bring back the RPG elements of gaming to Star Wars. Whilst RPG gaming fell off the norm in favour for FPSs back in 2010, the many genres of gaming has never been this successfully diverse until now, meaning we could get our hands on another KOTOR-styled game in the High Republic. And if it was high profile enough, and should they find it a great success like the old KOTOR games, then a sequel would surely follow, establishing the start of what could be a great series. As mentioned in our video about the possibility of KOTOR 3, KOTOR fans are certainly used to heartbreak when it comes to getting their hopes built up only then to have them shattered. So whilst the dream of having a new KOTOR game is unlikely, a new series from the same humble beginnings of KOTOR could surely follow with the High Republic. And besides, the High Republic takes place around 200 years before the Phantom Menace and the start of the Skywalker saga, so there is plenty of room to create spectacular storylines without having to retcon or contradict established canon or even legend lore. The High Republic could also be a perfect opportunity to have game developers create a fantastic new environment that could usher in a generation of Star Wars fans. For instance, the prequel trilogy and the Clone Wars. What was once hated so much by many Star Wars fans eventually became the trilogy to usher in many later millennials and early Gen Zers into the world of Star Wars, and is now considered a nostalgic hit for many. The High Republic could be that next introduction for many potential young fans, and what a better way to engage them with a video game. The Old Republic era had many narrative-driven games built for it, something books, films and TV series can't do, to make you really feel how those worlds worked and for you to create your own characters that lived in that world, drove the era to be an absolute cult classic. Don't get me wrong, whilst I'm all up for kids reading more and engaging the High Republic in that medium, I can't help but worry that its vision could be lost very quickly for readers, and that it can't rely on scoring the astounding success the original Thrawn trilogy had. Video games have developed so much more since games were released in the Old Republic. So what better way now than to have a game truly visualize what these authors and illustrators are trying to create, and how much bigger of an impact these stories will have when we can put a name to a face and voice. To wrap it up, I think now is a better time than ever to introduce the High Republic. The Skywalker saga is finally complete, and Lucasfilms needs to decide on where to take the franchise next. Whilst not much is known in what the next trilogy could be, there is one thing we can confirm: the success of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a hyperlinear, storyline-driven game, and I do believe the High Republic era needs that sort of success to get its feet off the ground and to be properly established with fans. Star Wars is primarily a visual franchise. Its success comes from how believable and atmospheric the galaxy, worlds, and its people are. It's partly why The Mandalorian is so loved. We scale from a galaxy-wide threat down to the challenges and struggles of everyday people that exist on these planets. We humanize them, understand what makes these characters and environments unique, and establish a common, relatable connection with them. I feel the High Republic can offer those galaxy-wide threats with events such as the Great Disaster and still bring those more close-to-home stories as well. Whilst books and comics can achieve this, as I mentioned earlier, Star Wars is a primarily visual franchise, and I can't see a series of books covering all of this, whilst still being super engaging for many. That, topped with next-gen consoles landing in the laps of consumers as we speak, Disney would be missing a great opportunity to have their first High Republic game on the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. These are my reasons for why the High Republic needs a video game or video game series. I'm really curious to hear yours too. Perhaps I didn't cover everything, and your voice might just help conclude it. So, my question of the day is, why do you think the High Republic should have a video game? I will honestly read every single comment, and hey, perhaps you might be thinking the opposite. Maybe the High Republic shouldn't have a video game series. Let me know those thoughts just as much, because those will be super interesting to read. This video was decided upon you, the viewer, in polls I placed on Discord and the YouTube community page. So depending on the success of this video, the more I'll be inclined to do voting polls on what topics you think I should research. And if you enjoy more higher research videos like this one, why not check out my video on the Cyberpunk delay and how the success of that game will lead to big shifts on how games are made on next-gen consoles. But other than that, I have been Charlie. You've been watching EcksToo, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.